going to start out with the post office. All of you got letters, copies of the letter, post office. This is from Maureen Hole, Post Office Operations Manager. And she says to me, "Dear Jim, it has been brought to my attention the current village post office in Preble is requesting to discontinue partnership with the Postal Service. I recently visited the Preble Post Office last week, along with APO Postmaster Brenda Ryan, who oversees the Preble Post Office. We discussed several options. I'd like to talk to you about the options at your earliest convenience." She gives me her phone number. So I called her, and what she said that she has two options that she would like to pursue. One is putting the mailboxes, well, pulling them out of Tom's store and putting them behind the town hall building in the parking lot here with a roof over it. The other one was putting up the same kind of structure, but at the fire station. So I said my opinion was the fire station might be better than here, just because there's more traffic and it's a more centrally located place. Being the fact that the Postal Service closes at 11:30, we're only in here 2 days a week. This is a pretty empty area, and I think the fire station would be better. But that's just my opinion. They're going to do with whatever they think is best. So that's where it sits right now. I don't know anything more than that. I guess they're talking to the fire department at this stage. So, any questions?
Their decision completely?
Well, they're going to talk to the fire department and work something out with them, see if it's even feasible with them. The fire department says no way.
I just wonder if you get a fire call and you got, kids getting mail and stuff, in town, kids could be getting the mail at the, on their bicycles or whatever, and I don't know if that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of back here, it's kind of dark and lonely at all hours, and,
I think the benefit of being here is just that it's a one-stop shop. You come here to mail something, or you get a notice in your mailbox that you've got a package to pick up.
Yeah, for those that can make it when the post office is open.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Great.
So, that would be the benefit of having it here.
And plus you got the hotel traffic up there too. I don't know, I know people sometimes go around the fire station to pull in and stuff, but
right.
If we don't have a choice, I don't know why they would.
Well, she was saying that she's got these two options. She doesn't know what to do yet, so she's talking to the fire department. I expressed that I thought the fire department would be better just because there's more people around, there's more activity, there's more centrally located, I think. I think it's kind of dark and lonely back here for people to be coming back here getting their mail all the time. So that was just my opinion. But ultimately, they're going to do what they want to do. So, any other?
Well, just again, the only feedback I've heard is from people who would like to have it here, as opposed to at the fire station. So, I think that it's appropriate for us to express that there's a community group that would like to have it at, behind the town hall.
I encourage anybody to call Maureen Hole also. Anybody sitting in the audience here. Her number is 315-452-3410. And I'm sure she would like some input, people's opinion. So through it all, they'll decide. So anyway, on to the next topic, and this is a big topic, and this is the highway garage. Jeff, maybe you can give us an update right now on how that's going.
After the last meeting, we decided to
How about now?
And I went down and talked to Craig, who is Complete Construction Concepts, which used the old Finger Lakes. Everybody knows the Finger Lakes. They were the only bidder, so I felt it was fair to at least went down late this afternoon and got this, so that wasn't my ultimate plan, but it worked out. And he got, there's some other very, very small things in there, but on the estimate side, 3 bay, he's at $498,000, and 6 bay, $661,000. And he got the breakdown sheet that I pulled everything down from the notes I took with him. So, depending on ceiling drops and things like that, there's a little bit of change in there, but it's vinyl windows, low E-argon glass, pre-finished entry doors, change the pitch on the roof a little bit, and just basically did as bare bones as economically we could come up with. So, like I said, it doesn't include septic or paving, anything around the outside of the building. His rough estimate to add, to do it as a steel structure was just under $100,000. Both steel. The siding and roofing would be 40-year warranty steel, the finish. Gave everybody a basic pencil drawing of the layout. Just some nuts and bolts of it. We also asked Paul. Well, Paul's very busy this time of year, but Paul Sheneman was kind enough to come down, and I'll also give everybody a copy of his contract from 6 years ago. CCC, if you will, Complete Construction Concepts. They would do a 4 to 5 page back sheet. And I go back to Don as far as they said they could put a set of complete bid specs together for municipal bidding for around $11,000. And that's, and like I said, that's with Don putting the cover sheets and like that on top of that. So the numbers I gave you included that, the 498 and the 661. Okay. Thoughts? I think there's. I went. Jeff Rothry, he's sick, so I didn't get a chance to chat with him. Got a call into him, and I've left a set of these down at Essex Steel, see if he had any thoughts. And that's going to be the same with my part, just to try to get everybody's input. If there's anything shortcomings that are missing from there.
Okay. We have Paul's proposal here. Paul, do you want to, not to go line by line on here, but do you want to give any kind of a summary on what you have here? I mean, do you want to say anything to the board?
It's designed, it's contract documents, handling the bidding and awards, it's reviewing shop drawings as they come in during construction, it's reviewing pay requests from A to Z.
Would this include clerk of the works?
Basically, that's what I'm describing in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Don, I'll defer to you as far as the requirements for municipal job over X dollars, where we have to do this, as far as we have where we have to come up with these big documents, what the threshold is.
Well, we have to have the project bid out a general, electrical, and then the heating and plumbing, mechanical. And it's got to be, as we talked about, it's got to be put together in such a way that it is appropriate for competitive bidding, that, it presents a level playing field for anyone interested in submitting a bid for those 3 different categories. And of course, they've got to be engineered plans. I mean, we've got to have plans that are suitable in that way as well.
Any questions for Jeff or Paul?
Well, so Jeff, just to make sure I understand the numbers that you're talking about here, obviously these are estimates, right? They're not quotes because they can't be a quote. But do they replace the 1.4 million that they previously proposed for the 6-bay? I'm just talking about the 6-bay because the 3-bay obviously less. So is it replacing the 1.4 or is this estimate for the total?
It's a wood pole barn building.
No, I understand. And so I'm just trying to go apples to apples. So is the 498 equal to what we got a bid for at 1.4 plus 107 plus 119 or whatever? Or I'm sorry, 107 and 475.
The 100,000 in wood, their estimate was 100,000 more in steel.
Right.
And that was an estimate also. The only the hard numbers there are the first two numbers, 356 and 494. That's what they've come in at. That's not an estimate. That's the actual building. The moving target right now is the electrical and mechanical.
Well, that's what I was asking. So this rough estimate isn't a budget for us. It's their estimate for just their slice of the work.
Not the whole 9 yards. The electrical and mechanical is listed.
Okay. So that's what I was trying to get at. Okay, right. Okay. So they're saying that they think that the total building could be delivered for $661 versus what we got as a 2.3 or 2.4 million said before. No, I understand. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Any other questions for Jeff, for Paul, or Don?
Like I say, he originally told me he was going to have this a week ago. I had intended to take this as a base and then talk to Jeff Rothry and to Mike and see if there was some other, make sure we're not missing anything.
Okay. So over the next 2 weeks before our regular board meeting, you'll have talked to those guys.
Absolutely. I've got called.
Get a better handle on what we're dealing with here.
This is go time for these people. I mean, it's
right.
Getting them, call them back. It's everybody wants to go tomorrow. And I did ask him that. He said if you got a May go, as it stands today, it'd be a July type build. But he says in 2 days I could get a ton of work, and it might be a September or October build. He said this is day to day. That's going to change this time of year. So.
Jeff, any feel for the comparisons between the two types of buildings?
We've got 40-year siding, roofing, but all of steel versus wood, I don't really what we thought longevity versus.
Well, yeah, the steel building's better. You're going to pay a little more for it. You don't have as many fires used with steel as you do with wood. It would work for you. The pole barn would work for you.
The other thing, and I think it's in here too, is 18-foot clearance for flat ceiling, and the tallest one we have right now, setting on the bottom prop, is just under 7.6. So we'll be able to get dump up just about touching the ceiling, but set back on the prop for broken wing cables and hydraulic lines broke in the cabinet. That's it looks good to be new building and working on it out in the parking lot. We couldn't get it up in February yet. So did that and any of the drywall, like it's finished drywall, we do all the painting and everything inside. Just all the floors are just sealed concrete. It's about basically you get
Okay, so as a board, we can look this over the next 2 weeks. We can pursue it in our next regular board meeting. And you'll have more information to us then too. Okay.
Like I told him, there's some things that aren't listed that he didn't have. I mean, it literally was at 2:30 this afternoon. So I got, some questions and that. I was on the phone with him twice since then, just to get this far. So that's basically where we're at.
Okay. Okay, we have nothing else on the agenda for tonight. Jane, we don't have any vouchers tonight, right?
No.
Okay. Nothing else to discuss. So we can now open up our meeting for public comments or questions. If anybody has a question for the board or a comment. Yep.
When I worked for Morton Buildings quite a while ago, they used to get around paying prevailing wage by buying buildings through a leasing company. Is there any options like that?
Jeff, you're going to have to answer this one.
I know Don Richards, you know about it. That's what
Yeah.
he worked for.
Yeah.
It all goes back to, state law and like that. If you want to try that, it's never passed the litmus test. So it depends how you want to write it up. Yeah, I mean, that's a legal issue. That's not my issue, but it's been talked about, and it's circumventing prevailing wage basically. And that's how they look at it.
Well,
And the comptroller will come in and you'll get your hand slapped one way or the other. So.
Yeah, I've consulted on this issue, and it was told to me that there was really no way to get around prevailing wage as a municipality. So that's the way I understand it. Any other questions? Comments from anybody? Yes.
If in the building you were talking about 18-foot ceilings in the entire building,
Well,
or only in a bay where you might do work?
No, the bays, we could actually do more other places. They could vault that one bay if they wanted.
That's what I was going to ask. You need 18-foot ceilings in all the bays
Correct, yes.
so that you can lift the truck back
Well, you can
everywhere.
you have to watch it. It'll go up,
Yeah.
and you'll set it back on the safety stand.
We need that in every bay.
Not necessarily, but you don't know exactly which one you would be. And this is things that I want to get pinned down. Where we
Yeah,
still
which
use
is my question.
14
So you need it
to 16.
every bay.
Option it out, see where it'd be worth it. My intent is to have 10 or a dozen options. Okay, we do, let's say this height, and then others drop it down, or other things, different heating options, things like that. This is basically, one step up from a napkin figure.
I got a question for Paul. The poles they put in the ground, what's the longevity of it?
I've seen them last 40 years so far. And if you spec them right, there are different levels of treatment with that chromated copper arsenate, and specified 0.6, and that's not what you're buying at the lumber yard.
No, I know, they've changed a lot of that. That's why that was my question.
Yeah.
I know it used to be really good.
Yeah,
Deteriorate from what it used to be.
yeah. You can still spec the building that way, though. Yeah, I might have to go looking for those poles, but that's not something I've seen.
No, that's my point.
Pole barns built up here. They put concrete in the ground to chase
Yep.
treated lumber. So that lumber is in contact with the ground.
Any other questions or comments? You could ask about other things that we haven't talked about tonight if you want to. Nancy?
Why do you think it's so dark out back? There's a great big light up there.
Could be kind of lonely back there. It was just off the top of my head, I wouldn't want to go back there. I mean, you live next door, so it's different for you, but
It's neighborhood.
Yeah.
Any problem.
yeah. it's not my call on this. I just said that was my opinion. Well,
It's more secure out here than at Firehouse.
you think so?
You got people at the hotel.
No. You can look at it both ways, I'm sure. But if you have strong opinions on this, call Maureen Hull and let her know, and she'll take all these comments into consideration. So, anybody else? Okay. Then we have no further business tonight, so we need a motion to adjourn.
When are you gonna do anything on the burn barrel or the RVs, parked RVs or anything like that? When's that coming up?
Well, we had discussed the RV situation, and we had discussed the outdoor wood boilers, and we got quite a bit of feedback from people in the town about the outdoor wood boilers. We then realized that New York State DEC has regulation on that already, and so we're thinking, why do we have to duplicate something that the state has already spent a lot of time and effort in regulating? So that's sort of the consensus of the board on that for right now.
So you're dropping it right now?
For right now, yes, we are.
Because I had one. One of the first ones in Provo that had one.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. The neighbors never complained or anything.
Well, sometimes neighbors complain, sometimes they don't. You know.
Some neighbors complain regardless.
Mm-hmm. So the other, the RVs, that is an ongoing issue that we're working on, and the problem seems to be taking care of itself at this point. So we're working through that also.
I had relatives that come 2,300 miles last year,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't stay in my yard, you gotta go down the road. Now, I'm only one person.
Right.
Someone else may have the same thing.
Right.
And they stayed here 3 weeks.
Well, it's more of a lake issue, right, Don?
Well, I think the issue is that it's overloading the lakes.
Mm-hmm.
If you have people staying for extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you. I mean, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. It's people that are kind of going the opposite and staying the whole summer, and people renting them out, which again is really an enforcement issue as opposed to needing a new law. I mean, you know, somebody renting out an RV on their property, I would argue that they're essentially creating a 2-family lot in the place of a 1-family lot, right? And so
It can be a fine line.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it can be a fine line. And so,
People up on Swan Lake that had their campers up there for many years.
mm-hmm.
I know for 50 years that they started,
Mm-hmm.
and they still have, and they started with tents, and they went to their mobile home,
Sure.
park them there all summer, and they've done it for 50 years, those people. And they can't be moving those people out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, Jim brought up the lake issue. The lake issue is a density of population issue, and you know, properly taking care of sewage. So that's really you know, the issues that you're concerned with. I think the lakes have other issues, including, you know, maintaining septic systems and things of that nature, which we're advocating for. So I'm not sure, you know. I certainly wasn't around when this law was drafted. I wasn't part of that process. I'm not a good one to speak for it.
You know,
I have a comment.
wants to make a comment.
Go ahead.
So just to back up what you said, Don, this is because people were using their lots as campgrounds. The occasional person that used their lot to make short-term accommodations, that's one thing. But a group of people on Tully Lake, homeowners, came down because there was someone that was renting out his property on the lake, and it was making it more or less an unsightly area. So just like the folks that came down for the boiler issue, the same kind of meeting occurred for the RV issue. So in answer to both of those questions, both of those laws, we need to take a second look and look them over, refine them, and make sure that we address those laws to accommodate the community. We're not trying to be enforcers. We're just trying to accommodate the community.
I know Linda Reelman, who's not here tonight, she didn't care for the law as it is right now because she has an RV parked in her driveway all summer, and sometimes they sleep out there. And she said, according to this law, the way it's written right now, she wouldn't be able to do that. So you can't park an RV by a lake for more than 2 weeks or so. So she didn't like the way it looked at this time. So it's sort of something that's in the works right now, and we're trying to get through it. Like Al said, we're just trying to prevent somebody from renting out part of their yard as a campground because they live on a lake.
You can't take one person for a complaint for the whole town.
Oh, it was more than one person.
It was not one person, it was many.
You got a couple lakes and the same thing. And actually, mobile home would be better because their sewer is not going into the lakes. You got those lakes that's got a quarter of an acre, an eighth of an acre. And I would be more concerned about their sewage than the mobile home.
Mm-hmm. The way you have the law proposed to, it says body of water. It doesn't specifically say lakes. Anybody that owns a pond, you're saying can't park a camper and RV on that piece of property, the way it's currently rolled.
Well, these are the things that we have to iron out. We have to work through this so that, you know, that kind of wording doesn't eliminate people who, you know, genuinely want to have visitors over, you know, for a few weeks. It's in the works, and we're trying to make it fair for everybody. Yes.
Again, similar to the outside boiler issue, don't we have zoning laws that already legislate all this already?
We do have zoning laws.
It doesn't.
No, they don't address boilers. That's what we were trying to do.
Well, the state covers the boilers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supersedes all that.
Now, we're talking about the RVs.
Right, but there was a comment about boilers as well just now.
No, just the same.
You had asked about
similar
the
situation
RV.
that there's already legislation covering the boilers through the state. Doesn't the town have zoning laws that already cover issues of temporary housing and lake properties, what they can do with it and so forth?
Well,
Do we need additional legislation to what we have, or do we just need to enforce what we have?
as I recall, there was a bit of a loophole in our existing zoning law, and that's how this fellow was able to rent out his property to a guy with a camper and kind of get away with it. And then we had people around the lake who came in and filled up this room, and they complained about it. And so we then went back to look at it, and we realized that the wording could be a little bit tighter as far as explaining what it is that we really wanted to do. So even sometimes your best zoning code laws, there are loopholes in and out of them that sometimes you've got to tighten up a little bit. And so that's what we were trying to do.
And the wording, there was additional wording that Rick Fritz needed, that he felt he needed to enforce our current zoning ordinance.
Mm-hmm. Right. Rick Fritz, our zoning officer, actually asked us to rework the wording so that he could do his job better.
On this issue?
On this particular issue. Yeah. On the RV issue. Yeah.
One thing on boiler night. Have you guys read the New York State laws on boilers?
Actually, Jeff has. He read the whole thing. Jeff, can I ask you about something?
Go ahead.
DEC regulation on boilers, you read most of that, didn't you?
Have you folks?
I have not.
Would you like to?
I would like to.
One for each of them.
Okay, good.
I give out, but he's not here, so. Can you say the person you can change us?
Yeah,
You
Linda.
want to add that amount?
Yeah, I got this online. I'll give Linda a copy. Yeah, so, I got it online. I read it.
Okay, you read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've read it.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Anything? Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Aye. See you later, folks.
I'll leave it.